Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to Joshua 19-23, Proverbs 2 and Psalm 4. Let's get started. The second lot drawn out was for the tribe of Simeon, according to its family groups. The share of land they were given was in the territory of Judah. Here's what Simeon's share included: Beersheba, Moladah, Hazar, Shual, Bala, Ezem, El-Talad, Bethel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Markaboth, Hazar Susa, Beth Lebaoth, and Sharuhim. The total number of towns was 13. Some of them had villages near them. Here's another list of towns given to Simeon: Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan. The total number of towns was 4. Some of them had villages near them. The towns and all the villages around them reached all the way to Ramah in the Negev desert. That was the share of land the tribe of Simeon received, according to its family groups. Simeon's share of land was taken from Judah's share. That's because Judah had more land than they needed. So the people of Simeon received their share of land inside the territory of Judah. The third lot drawn out was for the tribe of Zebulun, according to its family groups. Here are the borders of Zebulun's territory. The border of their share of land went as far as Sarid. It ran west to Maralah and touched Dabasheth. It reached to the valley near Jokneam. It turned east from Sarid toward the sunrise. It went to the territory of Kisloth-Tabor. It went on to Daberath and up to Japhia. Then it continued east to Gath-Hefer and Eth-Kazan. It came to an end at Rimmon and turned toward Neo. There the border went around on the north to Hanathon. It came to an end at the valley of Ifta-El. Zebulun's territory included Katath, Nahalal, Shimron, Idala, and Bethlehem. The total number of towns was 12. Some of them had villages near them. Those towns and their villages were Zebulun's share, according to its family groups. The fourth lot drawn out was for the tribe of Isaac, according to its family groups. Here's what Isaac's share included: Jezreel, Kesalah, Shunem, Ephraim, Shean, Anaharath, Rabith, Kishian, Ebez, Remeth, En-Ganim, En-Hadar, and Beth Pazzez. The border touched Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beth Shemesh. It came to an end at the Jordan River. The total number of towns was 16. Some of them had villages near them. Those towns and their villages were the share the tribe of Isaac received, according to its family groups. The fifth lot drawn out was for the tribe of Asher, according to its family groups. Here's what Asher's share included: Helkath, Hali, Beten, Akshaf, Alamelech, Amad, and Mishal. On the west, the border touched Carmel and Shehor-Libnath. Then it turned east toward Beth-Dagon. It touched Zebulun and the valley of Ifta-El. It went north to Beth-Anak and Neel. It went past Kabul on the left. It went to Abdon, Rehob, Hammon, and Cana. It reached all the way to Greater Sidon. The border then turned back toward Ramah. It went to Tyre, a city that had high walls around it. It turned toward Hosah. It came to an end at the Mediterranean Sea in the area of Akzib, Uma, Aphek, and Rehob. The total number of towns was 22. Some of them had villages near them. Those towns and their villages were the share the tribe of Asher received, according to its family groups. The sixth lot drawn out was for Naphtali, according to its family groups. Their border started at Heleph and the large tree in Zananim. It went past Adami, Nekeb, and Jabneel. It went to Lacham and came to an end at the Jordan River. The border ran west through Aznoth, Tabor. It came to an end at Hakok. It touched Zebulun on the south. It touched Asher on the west. It touched the Jordan on the east. The towns that had high walls around them were Zidon, Zer, Hamath, Rakaz, Kinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kedesh, Edrei, and Hazor, Ayin, Migdal El, Horem, Beth-Anath, and Beth Shemesh. The total number of towns was 19. Some of them had villages near them. Those towns and their villages were the share the tribe of Naphtali received, according to its family groups. The seventh lot drawn out was for the tribe of Dan, according to its family groups. Here's what Dan's share of land included: Zorah, Eshtaol, Shemesh, Shalabim, Ijalon, Isla, Ellen, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Balath, Jeher, Bene-Berak, Gathrimmon, Mejarkon, and Rakan. Dan and Share included the area that faces Joppa. The people of Dan lost their territory, so they went up and attacked Leshem. They captured it. They killed its people with their swords. Then they moved into Leshem and made their homes there. They named it Dan. That's because they traced their family line back to it. All those towns and their villages were the share of the tribe of Dan received, according to its family units. The Israelites finished dividing up the shares of land the tribes received, so they gave a share to Joshua, the son of Nun. They did what the Lord had commanded them to do. They gave Joshua the town Yassel. It was Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim. He built up the town and made his home there. All those territories were given out by casting lots at Shiloh. The lots were drawn out by Eleazar the priest and by Joshua, the son of Nun. The leaders of the tribes of Israel helped them. The lots were drawn out in front of the Lord at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So the work of dividing up the land was finished. Then the Lord spake to Joshua. He said, "Tell the Israelites to choose the cities to go to for safety, just as I directed you through Moses. Anyone who kills a person by accident can run there for safety. So can anyone who kills a person without meaning to. The one charged with murder will be kept safe from the nearest male relative of the person killed. But suppose those who are charged with murder run for safety into one of those cities. Then they must stand in the entrance of the city gate, and they must state their case in front of the elders of that city. The elders must let them come into their city. The elders must provide a place for them to live in their city. Suppose the nearest male relative of the person killed chases the one charged with murder. Then the elders must not hand them over to that relative. That's because the person didn't mean to kill their neighbor. They didn't make evil plans to do it. They must stay in that city until their case has been brought to the community court. They must stay there until the high priest serving at that time dies. Then they can go back to their own home. They can return to the town they ran away from. So the Israelites set apart Kadesh in Galilee. It's in the hill country of Naphtali. They set apart Shechem. It's in the hill country of Ephraim. They set apart Kiriath Arba. It's in the hill country of Judah. Kiriath Arba is also called Hebron. On the east side of the Jordan River near Jericho, they chose Bezer. It's in the desert on the high plains. It's in the territory of the tribe of Reuben. They chose Ramhoth in Gilead. It's in the territory of the tribe of Gad. They chose Golan in the land of Bashan. It's in the territory of the tribe of Manasseh. Suppose you kill someone by accident, or another Israelite does it, or an outsider who lives among you does it. Then any of you can run for safety to one of those cities that have been chosen. There you won't be killed by the nearest male relative of the person killed by accident. First, your case must be brought to the community court. The leaders of the Levi family groups approached Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun. They also approached the leaders of the family groups of Israel's other tribes. They went to all of them at Shiloh and Canaan. They said to them, "Give us towns to live in. Also give us grasslands for our livestock." That's what the Lord commanded through Moses. So the Israelites gave the Levites towns and grasslands out of their own shares of land. They did what the Lord had commanded. Here are the towns that the Levites were given. The first lot drawn down was for the people of Kohath, according to their family groups. Some of the Levites came from the family line of Aaron the priest. They were given 13 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of Kohath's family groups were given from 10 towns. Those towns were from the family groups of the tribes of Ephraim and Dan and half of the tribe of Manasseh. The family groups of Gershon were given 13 towns. Those towns were from the family groups of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, and Naphtali, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. That part of Manasseh was in the land of Bashan. The family groups of Merari received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. Each family group received its share. So the Israelites gave those towns and their grasslands to the Levites. They did what the Lord had commanded through Moses. Some towns were given from the territories of the tribes of Judah and Simeon. The Israelites gave them to the members of the family line of Aaron. The towns were given to the family groups of Kohath. They were Levites. The first lot drawn out was for them. Here are the towns the family groups of Kohath were given. The Israelites gave them Kiriath Arba and the grasslands around it. Kiriath Arba is also called Hebron. It's in the hill country of Judah. Anak came from the family line of Abba, but Israel had already given away the fields and villages around the city. They had given them to Caleb as his share. Caleb was the son of Jephunneh, so they gave Hebron to the members of the family line of Aaron the priest. Hebron was a city where anyone charged with murder could go for safety. They also gave them Limnah, Jatiyah, Eshtemoa, Holon, Debir, Ain, Juttah, and Beth Shemesh. They gave those towns and their grasslands to the family groups of Kohath. The total number of towns from the tribes of Judah and Simeon came to 9. The Israelites gave some towns from the family line of Benjamin to the family groups of Kohath. The towns were Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. So the total number of towns in their grasslands given to the priests in Aaron's family line came to 13. There were other family groups of Kohath among the Levites. They were given towns from the tribe of Ephraim. Here are the towns those other family groups of Kohath were given. In the hill country of Ephraim, they were given Shechem. It was a city where anyone charged with murder could go for safety. They were also given Gezer, Kibzaim, and Bethhoron. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. From the tribe of Dan, they received Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Aijalon, and Gath-Rimmon. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. From half of the tribe of Manasseh, they received Taanach and Gath-Rimmon. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 2. So all these 10 towns and their grasslands were given to the other family groups of Kohath. Here are the towns given to the family groups of Gershon among the Levites. From half of the tribe of Manasseh, they received Golan in the land of Bashan. Golan was a city where anyone charged with murder could go for safety. They also received Eshterah. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 2. From the tribe of Issachar, they received Kishir, Dabaraz, Jarmuth, and En-Ganim. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. From the tribe of Asher, they received Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rehob. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. From the tribe of Naphtali, they received Kedesh in Galilee. Kedesh was a city where anyone charged with murder could go for safety. They also received Hamath, Dor, and Kartan. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 3. So the total number of towns and their grasslands given to the family groups of Gershon came to 13. The rest of the Levites were from the family groups of Merari. Here are the towns they were given. From the tribe of Zebulun, they received Jokneam, Carter, Dimnah, and Nahalal. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. From the tribe of Reuben, they received Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mephath. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. From the tribe of Gad, they received Ramoth and Gili. Ramoth was a city where anyone charged with murder could go for safety. They also received Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jaz. The total number of these towns and their grasslands came to 4. So the total number of towns given to the family groups of Merari came to 12. That concludes the list of towns the rest of the Levites received. The total number of Levite towns and their grasslands in the territory given to Israel came to 48. Each of those towns had grasslands around it. That was true of all of them. So the Lord gave Israel all the land he had promised to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Israel took it over. Then they made their homes there. The Lord gave them peace and rest on every side. He had promised their people long ago that he would do that. Not one of Israel's enemies was able to fight against them and win. The Lord handed all their enemies over to them. The Lord kept all the good promises he had made to the Israelites. Every one of them came true. Joshua sent for the tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh. He said to them, "You have done everything that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded. You have also obeyed everything I commanded. For a long time you haven't deserted the other Israelites. Instead, you have done what the Lord your God sent you to do. You have obeyed him right up to this day. Now the Lord your God has given the other tribes peace and rest. That's what he promised to do. So return to your homes. They are in the land that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you. It's on the east side of the Jordan River. Be very careful to obey the law that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you. He commanded you to love the Lord your God. He told you to live exactly as the Lord wants you to. He told you to obey the Lord's commands. He told you to remain faithful to the Lord, and he told you to serve the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul. Joshua gave the eastern tribes his blessing. Then he sent them home. So they went. Moses had given land in Bashan to half of the tribe of Manasseh. Joshua had given land to the other half of the tribe. He had given it to them along with the other tribes on the west side of the Jordan River. When Joshua sent them home, he blessed them. He said, "Return to your home. Take your great wealth with you. Return with your large herds of livestock. Take your silver, gold, bronze, and iron with you. Return with all the extra clothes you require. Divide up the things you have taken from your enemies. Share them with your people." So the tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh went home. They left the other Israelites at Shiloh and Canaan. Then they returned to Gilead. That was their own land. They had acquired it according to the Lord's command through Moses. The tribe of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh came to Gilead. It was near the Jordan River in the land of Canaan. They built a large altar there by the Jordan. The rest of the Israelites heard that the eastern tribes had built the altar. They heard that it had been built on the border of Canaan at Gilead. It was near the Jordan River on the west side. So the whole community of Israel gathered together at Shiloh. They decided to go to war against the eastern tribes. The Israelites sent Phinehas the priest to the land of Gilead. Phinehas was the son of Eleazar. They sent him to the tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh. And they sent 10 of their leaders with them. There was one from each of the tribes of Israel. Each man was the leader of a family group among the larger family groups of Israel. Those leaders went to the tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Those tribes were in the land of Gilead. The leader said to them, "We're speaking for the Lord's whole community. How could you disobey the God of Israel like this? How could you turn away from the Lord? How could you disobey him by building an altar for yourselves? Don't you remember how we sinned at Peor? The Lord struck us with a plague because of what we did. Up to this day, we're still suffering because of that sin. And are you turning away from the Lord now? Suppose you disobey the Lord today. If you do, he'll be angry with the whole community of Israel tomorrow. If your own land is unclean, come over to the Lord's land. It's where his holy tent stands. Share our land with us, but don't disobey the Lord. Don't turn against us by building an altar for yourselves. Don't build any altar other than the altar of the Lord our God. Lord our God." Remember what happened to Achan, the son of Zerah. Achan wasn't faithful to the Lord. He took the things that had been set apart to the Lord in a special way to be destroyed. Didn't the whole community of Israel experience the Lord's anger? Achan was the only one who died. Wasn't the only one who died because of his sin. Then the tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh replied. They answered the leaders of the family groups of Israel. They said, "The Lord, the mighty one, God, the Lord. The mighty one, God the Lord. He knows, and we want Israel to know. Have we opposed the Lord? Have we refused to obey him? If we have, don't spare us today. Have we built our own altar so we could turn away from the Lord? Have we built it to offer burnt offerings and grain offerings on it? Have we built it to sacrifice friendship offerings on it? If we have, may the Lord himself hold us accountable. No, we built it because we were afraid. Someday your children might speak to our children. We were afraid they might say, 'What do you have to do with the Lord? What do you have to do with the God of Israel? The Lord has made the Jordan River a border between us and you. You people of Reuben, you people of Gad, you don't have anything to do with the Lord.' If your children said that, they might cause our children to stop worshipping the Lord. That's why we said to ourselves, 'Let's get ready and build an altar.' But let's not build it to offer burnt offerings or sacrifices on it. So just the opposite is true. The altar will be a witness between us and you. It will be a witness between our children and yours after us. It will also be a witness that we will worship the Lord at his sacred tent. We will worship him there with our burnt offerings, sacrifices, and friendship offerings. Then in days to come, your children won't be able to say to ours, 'You don't have anything to do with the Lord.' So we said to ourselves, suppose we say that to us sometime, or suppose they say it to our children after us. Then we will answer, 'Look at this altar. It is exactly like the Lord's altar. Our people built it. They didn't build it to offer burnt offerings and sacrifices. Instead, they built it to be a witness between us and you. We would never refuse to obey the Lord. We would never turn away from Him now. We wouldn't build an altar to offer burnt offerings, grain offerings, and sacrifices on it. We wouldn't use any altar other than the altar of the Lord, our God. That altar stands in front of His holy tent. Finally, the priest heard what the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh had to say. The leaders of the family groups of the community of Israel heard it too. All of them were pleased with what they heard. Finally, the priest spoke to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. Finally was the son of Elder. He said, "Today we know that the Lord is with us. That's because you have been faithful to Him in this matter. Now you have saved the Israelites from the Lord's anger against them." Then Phinehas the priest, the son of Eleazar, returned to King. So did the men. All of them went back from the meeting with the tribes of Reuben and Gad and Gilead. They brought a report back to the Israelites. The people were glad to hear the report. They praised God. They didn't talk anymore about going to war against the eastern tribes. They didn't talk anymore about destroying the country where the tribes of Reuben and Gad lived. The tribes of Reuben and Gad gave the altar a name. They called it a witness between us that the Lord is God. A long time had passed. The Lord had given Israel peace and rest from all their enemies around. By that time, Joshua was very old, so he sent for all the elders, leaders, judges, and officials of Israel. He said to them, "I'm very old. You yourselves have seen everything the Lord your God has done. You have seen what He's done to all these nations because of you. The Lord your God fought for you. Remember how I've given you all the land of the nations that remain here. I've given each of your tribes a share of it. It's the land of the nations I conquered. It's between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea in the west. The Lord your God Himself will drive those nations out of your way. He will push them out to make room for you. He will take over their land, just as the Lord your God promised you. Be very strong. Be careful to obey everything written in the book of the law of Moses. Don't turn away from it to the right or the left. Don't have anything to do with the nations that remain among you. Don't use the names of their gods for any reason at all. Don't give your word and make promises in their names. You must not serve them. You must not bow down to them. You must remain true to the Lord your God, just as you have done until now. The Lord has driven out great and powerful nations to make room for you. To this day, no one has been able to fight against you and win. One of you can chase 1,000 away. That's because the Lord your God fights for you, just as He promised He would. So be very careful to love the Lord your God. But suppose you turn away from Him. He makes with the people who are left alive in the nations that remain among you. Later, you and they get married to each other, and you do other kinds of things with them. Then you can be sure of what the Lord your God will do. He won't drive out those nations to make room for you anymore. Instead, they will become traps and snares for you. They will be like whips on your back. They will be like thorns in your eyes. All that will continue until you are destroyed. It will continue until you are removed from this good land. It's the land the Lord your God has given you. Now I'm about to die, just as everyone else on earth does. The Lord your God has kept all the good promises He gave you. Every one of them has come true. Not one has failed to come true. And you know that with all your heart and soul. Every good thing has come to pass that the Lord your God has promised you. So you know that He can also bring against you all the evil things He has warned you about. He will do it until He is destroyed. He will do it until He has removed you from this good land. It's the land He has given you. Suppose you break the covenant the Lord your God made with you. He commanded you to obey. But suppose you go and serve other gods, and you bow down to them. Then the Lord will be very angry with you. You will quickly be destroyed. You will be removed from the good land He has given you. Proverbs 2. My son, set my words, store my commands inside you. Let your ears listen to wisdom, apply your heart to understand. Call out for the ability to be wise, cry for understanding. Look for it as you would look for silver, search for it as you would search for hidden treasure. Then you will understand how to have respect for the Lord. The Lord gives, you'll find out how to know God. The Lord gives knowledge and understanding come from His mouth. He stores up success for honest people. He is like a shield to those who live without fear. He guards the path of those who honor. He watches over the way of His faithful ones. You will understand what is right and honest and fair. You will understand